Hey everyone, it's been a long time since I've been here. Good to see you all. I've been doing something a lot of Magic players have issues doing, touching grass. Today I wanted to talk about a card that is really special to me. It's a card that has a great mix of mechanics and flavor text, and is a card that not a lot of people know about. And before you say it, no, it's not Rancor. Rancor wishes it could be this card. This is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. It's one of the few cards that I continue to read it and continue to get that wow factor, that feeling in me whenever I read its flavor text and what it does combined. And that card is Grip of Amnesia. Released in Judgment and seeing play in, at best, 1% of Umbrous Fear Manifest commander decks, Grip of Amnesia is a 1 and a blue instant that reads, counter target spell unless its controller exiles all cards from their graveyard. Draw a card. Oh, sorry, you weren't supposed to see this. Now, as you can see, this card's pretty bad from a purely competitive standpoint, but to be quite frank, who cares? You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you know why you're here. It's not about this card seeing any play whatsoever. Now, I can't pull heuristic studies with this card. I don't really talk about art all that much. I mean, what do you want me to say about this? I like it. It's good art. I really like this older style of Magic art where they do this magic surrealism look. I think there's a lot going for this art. I think it's really cool. And not to mention that the artist Bradley Williams has done a lot of iconic arts in Magic's history. From off the top of my head, it's a big one for me, but there's a ton of other arts that I just don't see as much because I don't play the cards. But one that really sticks with me is Grip of Amnesia, like just the way the hands and the magic kind of work. It's one of those types of arts that feels like it escaped from some alternate timeline Magic the Gathering and ended up in our universe. But while I'm not gonna just talk about this card's art, what I do want to talk about is its mechanics and its flavor text. So let's actually get to the flavor text of this card. The card reads, would you abandon your past to save your future? And this is a quote from the character Ambassador Laquidus. So Ambassador Laquidus is this figure in Magic from Dominaria who overthrew the Burbis merfolk by swapping out their eggs with cephalid eggs during a sacrificial ceremony that was meant to rejuvenate the merfolk. I don't know. The thing with would you abandon your past to save your future also is that it has something to do with the business practices of Wizards of the Coast, seemingly abandoning the past ideas of how the card game should be run as a way to so-called save the future, the bottom line. Now the question is, see, what gets me with this card is that Grip of Amnesia is a counterspell with a choice. You can let the spell be countered, or you can exile your graveyard and make it so the spell isn't being countered. That goes along with the flavor text. It's all about abandoning the past to save your future. Exiling the graveyard is the past, all of these spells and other things that you've been casting and playing throughout the game. So you can abandon your past to save your future, to prevent the spell from being countered and let this new spell that you're playing actually resolve. So it's this really, really, really flavorful effect. And even outside of that, just the way it all works together. When I read this card's flavor text, it gets me every time. Really, is the second option a second question? Would it even save your future to abandon the past? You could argue that mechanically. If you're a graveyard deck, abandoning your past is likely not going to save your future. You need your graveyard to continue. So the card also has this idea mechanically of the question being a second question within itself, because sure, Hatred Outlives the Hateful is great. The guy dies, it gives it trample, the card comes back to your hand when the guy dies. That's great. I played Rancor for years in Bogles. Rancor never did to me what this card did. This future the card refers to is the spell on the stack. What could be, what is in sort of a fluid of what is and what isn't. It's what could be. And so abandoning your past and getting rid of your graveyard, just exiling it, effectively making it unusable for the most part through the game, to allow that spell to resolve your future is a very, very strong connection, something I really like. And maybe this is all a bit too obvious, you know? Maybe Rancor really is the better example of cards mechanics and flavor text coming together thematically to make something truly beautiful, a really good fusion of what card games can do. And you know, maybe it's just my personal bias for why I put Grip of Amnesia above Rancor, and its hatred outlives the hateful. But at the end of the day, I pulled this card out of my book one day, I read it, and it got me to take a long look at it. It had me come back and continue reading it, and has me thinking about it to this day. And I hope that's something we never forget, that card games can be used as this medium for art, thoughts, feelings. And I hope that that's something that Wizards of the Coast never abandons.